Hello,
Great.
everyone, and welcome to another interview special episode of the SWW show. I'm Mike. Today I have with me, yet again, not AJ. We're really excited by that, we know. But I have a special guest with me. Sir, could you please tell me your name and the game we're here to talk about?
Hi everyone, I'm David Princemel. It's a difficult name for you English-speaking people, but I'm basically the art director / creative director on the Almost Gone. Nice to meet you.
Perfect. Nice to meet you, too. So, yeah, we got to talk right before. I'm immediately curious, then, because you said that your name's hard to pronounce in English. Do you pronounce it differently in your native tongue, or...?
No, it's Princemel, but it's like the R is R. So it's
Oh yeah, no, I
it's kind of weird when you're talking English and you say your name in Dutch. I don't want to say it in English because that would sound horrendous. So I just say my last name as I would pronounce it. So, even in Belgium, it's a weird name. So it's kind of special like last name. Yeah.
Yeah. So as people could probably tell, and you kind of alluded to there, yeah, you're not in America. This is we're here to talk about. So if there's any mistranslations, that is the reason why, folks, because this always is fun when we're dealing with stuff like internationally. We're always like, okay, how are we gonna do this? So yeah, so immediately
I'll do my best.
I want to talk about. So we're gonna talk about the Almost Gone. If you mind, kind of as we get into the game, let's talk about your studio a bit first, because you guys are a Happy Volcano, and you're a newer team, right? And you're still working on this game.
What do you mean newer team? No, wait.
So
newer team?
Define how long has Happy Volcano been around? Because I know you guys are growing now. You said.
Oh yeah, so I have no idea how long Happy Volcano is around. I think about 6 years now because the three of us met in an advertising company and we just had a mutual interest in games. We got sick of advertising work because it's kind of sucks after a while, and then we just started making games on the side, and then we had some clients, and then we kicked off the company for real, and we started working on our first actual big game project. It was called The Almost Gone. Back then we didn't have a title yet, and we just took off 3 months from our job, started making artwork, and then we got a client and we kicked off for real, and it kind of evolved from there, doing some client work, doing work on The Almost Gone. To keep the studio running, we had to do some client work, of course. And then we met Joost van de Kastelen, who's a writer on the game. And basically, we had a bunch of artwork. We had a world. We had a cool visual style, but we didn't know what to do with it, essentially. So Joost came into the picture, and he kind of started thinking about, like, he liked the very cutesy, he calls it, style, but he saw also a black undertone, or like a darker force behind the things in this world, and he came up with some twisted story about death and about stuff that happens when you die, and that's basically how The Almost Gone was born. That's like 5 or 6 years back. We kind of worked on it. Like in segments, because we had to do some client work as well. So that's why it took so long, but it was also a really interesting process because it's not like the writer had a story and we said, hey, can we get your book? Let's make a video game out of it. No, it was more like a mutual feeding off of each other's specialties. Like he had some cool creative ideas about the story. We just showed him new artwork, and his mind went crazy again, and then he got inspired by the artwork, we got inspired by the story, and that's how kind of the Almost Gone grew organically into the Frankenstein monster it eventually became. But now we kind of tamed the Frankenstein monster and made a nice, friendly giant or whatever.
You made like one of the Igors instead, so now it listens to you, it's a little bit more behaved, but it's still a monster in its own right.
You can give it some commands and it'll respect you, but it still has its own little twisted personality.
So let's give people a top run, because I feel like you kind of went there, but I could still see a little bit confused in the back of my head. So what is we talk about the Almost Gone? What is like the elevator pitch when I meet you on the show floor? You'll give people.
Oh shit! Elevator pitches, I hate them.
Or longer pitch.
Yeah, basically. No, I'll do it. I'll do it. I have to be able to do it. So, The Almost Gone is a kind of point and click adventure game set in a colorful world with a really dark undertone. So there's a really dark story behind it, and you play as a little girl who wakes up in this world. She doesn't know where she is, and you kind of need to solve some riddles and um, solve some puzzles. As you progress through them, you'll get to know more about the story and the people surrounding her and what happened to her, essentially.
So, obviously, you said you guys started building this thing. Then you eventually created the Frankenstein monster. You got a writer on board and kind of trimmed it down. What was this? Did you guys like, we just taking 3 months off? We just have a general, just make art, and we'll see what idea comes from it. Did you have a goal in mind when you start making this?
Actually, the initial idea was to make a very light RPG.
That worked
And
well.
then we started making art with that in the back of our heads, and then it quickly grew into something that really, I don't know how we ended up with this kind of game eventually, but as I said, it grew organically, and I'm happy we didn't make an RPG, because this has. I'm not to say you can't make a great RPG, but it might be a bit too much to bite off at once. So we just focused on the story, and what worked. Like, we quickly discovered that because the original artwork was all 2D, it was not based on, but it was. I'm a graphic designer by background, so I wanted to make something that was not the gamey art, so something that was like. That mixed my passion for graphic design and video games. And then it became this 2D isometric world. And pretty soon we discovered, wouldn't it be cool if you could rotate those tiles? Then you could see behind trees and behind. But I kind of like the aesthetic of 2D. So I wanted to make the same thing, but in 3D. So you have a nice wow effect if you turn the tile around and you can see behind things. And we kind of started working on that aspect, that fun part. And I was quickly discovering, okay, we can do some really cool puzzles, because we're kind of in a detached mode. You don't see your character, so you can look behind closets and you can go places where you normally can't go, like a spirit, whatever you want to call it. So we kind of build on that mechanic, and the story grew eventually out of these pieces of artwork, and there grew more artwork or more levels out of the story. So it's kind of back and forth the whole time.
So that's very interesting, because immediately when I was looking at your guys' game and I saw it, it reminded me of, like, I feel like we've had this swath of what's normally we define as mobile games, though, of these, like, puzzly games of, like, Fez or Monument Valley, or those, like, I'd say very similar looking games. Did you guys end up using those kind of, like, as reference points of, like, what works and doesn't work, or did you guys kind of go down a different path while fine-tuning this beast?
I'm not sure. We just started making this artwork, and I wanted to make something that stood out. And a lot of people said, "Why the fuck aren't you not just using the whole screen and just making something small in the center of the screen?" Then I was just like, "Why not?" Because it looks cool and it's nice, and it kind of gives you more. Like, it transports you into the mind of a child. You give them. Because actually the main character is a girl. She's a young girl, and the way like kids or small kids look at the world is really interesting, because they kind of have more attention to detail. So that's the idea I wanted to convey with the art style as well. I'm presenting you like this little diorama which has a lot of work in it, which is meticulously crafted to fit inside the head of a child, because the girl is also like, it's a girl, and I thought it was a cool idea to have some sort of metaphor, like a dollhouse, like everything is split up and fragmented, because they tend to not look at the big picture, but they get sucked right into some detail. So that's like the concept behind the way the world is built up.
Mm-hmm. So,
I don't know what your initial question was anymore, but
no, I like that answer a lot. Actually, I want to follow up on that. So as you're defining that you have to get in the head of a child, so I'm very curious. Do you have like a kid or a nephew? Somebody you just go sit down and go, okay, I'm gonna ask you questions to get the head of a child, or you just like sit down and go, or you and the team sit down and go like, what, as a child, how did I picture this? How did I want to? Like, how do you get in that headspace?
Yeah, it's not like we actually showed this game to we showed it to some kids, of course, but we weren't making the game for kids because it's a really tough subject going on in there. So we just took that concept of looking at stuff you take for granted or you think is like you don't stop and wonder. Like it's the wonder part we wanted to express, and that's why we came up with this like centerpiece. This needs your attention. You need to like look at the centerpiece, and then if we cannot show it in the centerpiece, or if there's something of more importance, we give it some extra space, and you have some sort of fragmented depiction of this reality. And it's also kind of an influence from me. Like I was inspired a lot by the graphic novels of Chris Ware. And he's like, this dude has got an amazing style. Is my hero. He kind of makes these books about non-super humans, or it's like super banal. How do you say it? Super not special. Super not
heroes?
special. Super Yeah. No. Just I mean, like not. Just regular people
okay.
with worries and who feel bad, and they're like kind of the superheroes in this twisted story. And but the way he draws them, it's super clean and it's so nice. And he also uses like these extra shapes to highlight some smaller details, some sort of side story going on. And you should check him out. He's super great. And I kind of borrowed that idea of like highlighting some stuff and having you look at the details more. Yeah, basically that's it.
That's interesting. It's because always that's the stuff where I always find it very interesting of like, how do we get, because like whenever we talk about like the idea of developers having to go into like certain head spaces or certain ideas or make those kind of things of like not about them, it's always interesting of like people always like, how do you make it not about you? Especially like obviously all of us were children at one point, so that like we have at least that reference point. But especially being like example like you said, like a child inherently being a girl is different than the experiences like any of us probably had growing up too, and that's where it always gets that interesting balancing that comes from.
Yeah, the thing is like everyone views being a kid differently, but I think for me it was like if you're small and you're running around and you see a rock, you look at the rock, you take the rock up and you just look at the rock because it's a rock and it's the first time you see it. And when you grow up, you just step on those rocks. You don't look at them anymore. And I just wanted to like that was my idea of depicting this world. I'm not sure if I completely nailed it of being a child and being in this world, but that was just the concept behind the whole thing. And
okay. So one of the things I like to talk about developers right now with, we obviously, it's a little, we'll say a little common now. We're in the middle of what we define as apparently a global pandemic right now. So I'm curious, especially as you guys are getting towards the tail end of releasing this game, is when this kind of really kicked in. How has that changed either like your development or like just dealing with the team? Obviously, like even if you're all still remote, it's still like just obviously everyone's lives fundamentally shifted.
Yeah, so it didn't change anything at all work related, to be honest, because the Almost Gone was already finished when the virus kicked in. So it was basically we're basically still in like the time where we talk about the game and we try to build a fuss about the game. So that didn't change a lot. And I have to be honest, we're working from home for about 3 months or more right now, and it's going really well. We just use a lot of video calls. We just have some certain meetings we have during the day normally in the office. We now just do behind our computer. So in the morning we do a stand-up, and at 4 p.m. we do a show and tell. And if some people need some more feedback or some brainstorming, we just have a separate call with them, and it's running really smoothly. The only thing I kind of miss is like the spontaneous events that happen, because now if something funny happens, you're not going to open your Zoom or whatever and call and say, hey, you never know what happened. No, the spontaneous stuff is gone. So that's the only downsize or down part thing of working separately. If I'm honest, yeah.
Do you feel as a team you'll be working separately, like even post all this more? Or do you feel that like no, your team worked for sure better in the office, and there are those advantages, kind of like just make the game inherently better?
I'm really not sure about that. I think, like in terms of the game or the work process being better, I think it's about the same. I think it's just a way of getting used to it. And I kind of also see the advantages because you're more relaxed. You don't have to take the train or the car to work. You just stay at home. You work more in your own pacing, as long as you keep like certain spots on the day the same as the rest of the office. But I think we might do a mix in the future. Like I think we'll have an open discussion with that with our employees, and we'll see. Maybe we'll figure out some new solution for or some new way of working out of this experience. But we haven't talked about it that much, to be honest.
Okay, because I'm always curious, because obviously what's interesting about the video game industry compared to, like, I would say, the tech industry as a whole is I feel like the video game industry, at least pre this, was very tied to offices compared to a lot of the tech industry. And that's why I'll be very curious if that shift kind of holds just on a fundamental level as studios obviously either invest in the cost part of working remote or just culturally adjust how they like build stuff with that in mind.
Kind of hard. It was kind of hard for me to understand. Can you repeat the question?
No, I'm just saying. So like, obviously the technology industry, I feel like globally has kind of accepted remote work pre the global pandemic, where the video game industry, I feel like, was an industry that didn't as much. And I'm just very curious. I've always been very curious now that a lot of studios have invested time and money into letting people work remote, if that's just going to stick now in a broader level, because obviously the industry didn't have that a ton before.
I'm curious as well. I have no idea. I didn't even know that the video game company industry was that tied to offices, to be honest. Like I heard
I would at least argue in America it was more than maybe global wide has as much. In America, it was definitely a very office centered environment compared to a lot of tech jobs.
Yeah, of course, but there's a lot of advantages also, because like there's a lot of it's easier to do a brainstorm, for example. Like you can run around and you can be more spontaneous, but it's I think a mixture is just the best. Like I'm not sure. I'm no expert in running the most perfect process of doing something. You've got the wrong guy for that.
Don't tell your employees.
I just figured. No. Oh shit, they'll hear this. No, I'll just figure it out along the way, and if something works, we'll repeat it, and if it doesn't work, we'll figure it out somehow. So I think the ideal situation is a mixture between two, and whatever makes people feel most comfortable. I think we're gonna sit down after this virus and just list the good stuff, the bad stuff, and see what we can do. Like see what we can change in the future.
Okay. So as we get to the tail end of this talk, the thing I'm curious about, so as we're talking right now, you're about 3 weeks, I think, to the date on releasing your game finally.
Mm-hmm.
How is, so like, let's start with the obvious answer. How stressed are you?
To be honest, I'm not that stressed.
Really? That's impressive.
No. I'm really psyched, but I'm not stressed. I'm really psyched that it's finally going to launch. I still can't believe it sometimes because we worked on it so long, and I'm so proud of it, and I want to share it with the world. And now you talked about it, I kind of keep on forgetting it's almost there, and I'm just really, maybe I'm a bit stressed about what the reactions are gonna be and what but I just believe in karma. If you wanna do something and you put your passion into it and you just gave it your best shot and you feel proud of it, I'm confident that I won't get, maybe call it superstitious. I'm confident that it will turn out at least okay. So for me, the most important thing is like if someone plays it and he had fun and it touched him or her in some way, I'm really happy, and I really want to have some feedback of the people that are gonna play the game, and not just a nasty review like in 2 lines. Or Of course, if you really don't like it, you should say it. But yeah, I'm just curious to talk to people because the story is it's dark and it's suggestive in many ways. So I'm really curious about how people are gonna put the puzzle together on their own. I hope there's gonna be a lot of theories about what's going on in the game and the story behind it. So I'm psyched.
You're
I'm
psyched.
not that stressed. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm gonna be honest. That means you must be sleeping because most developers I talk like a week before the game launch. It's usually like they're like you tell them slept in like 2 weeks and they're like shaking from all the caffeine they've had.
No, I'm sleeping. I don't have trouble sleeping, to be honest.
So you were one of the lucky developers. God bless your soul for that one because.
The thing is that we're not betting everything we own on this game. So if it sucks, or if it appears that people don't like it, it's not the end of the company. We're still doing other stuff. We're also already working on the new game, so we learned a lot. It's our first game. I'm really proud of it, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna love playing the game. People who like a good story and like to play something different that has their own little rules. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But now I'm talking about it, I'm getting a little bit stressed because I haven't thought about it like a couple of days before this conversation. But now, yeah, maybe I'll sleep less. I'll sleep not so good anymore after this interview.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that one. So I have another one that I'm curious. So this is, you said, this is your first guys game. This is, you guys are going out in the world. Let's say it's a massive success, and now you're working on your next couple of games or whatever. Do you want the team to be like the size of the team you've developed right now, or do you want the team kind of like to grow and make bigger quality things, or do you like this idea of this mid-sized, small-sized team you are that now is flexible, can make a lot of smaller products?
First of all, bigger quality, it doesn't mean you have a bigger team or you have an art style that's easier to reproduce or less time consuming. It doesn't mean it's better, less quality. Mm-hmm. But if I think we're three founders, and if we're being honest, we kind of have the ambition of growing a bigger company. We're not talking about hundreds of people, of course, but like having like a proper art department with a lot of specified persons in there. That would be super great to have like a company of like 50 people or something. That I would really love that, because you just have way more tools to express your ideas, and you have way more possibilities. And why wouldn't you want to do that? It's gonna go more direction of running a company and doing actual creative director stuff, because I did a lot of the art because we were a small team at the beginning. But I have so many ideas I want to do, and I'm not sure that we need a bigger company to make one bigger game. But I think we're shifting more towards the idea of making multiple games at the same time, and then just if something works really well, we can sustain it and we can keep updating it. We can grow it. So I think a lot of this philosophy is going to be present in the future projects we're doing. Like we're making something that's fun in itself, but we can add to that. Like if we feel like community or the players really like it and want more, then we can kind of be more flexible in that way as well.
Okay, perfect. So let's get you some more wish lists and that game pre-sold. So the game, let's see if I get this right, is Almost Gone. It is coming out on Steam and Nintendo Switch on June 25th.
Yep, and all mobile as well. All mobile devices.
And
as well.
all mobile devices. And then then it's also, you guys are Happy Volcano, which is happyvolcano.com.
Yep, happyvolcano.com. The Almost Gone wishlist on Steam, and if you wishlist, you get even a chance for a discount on launch day. So that's, you get a notification. You get a notification for that, so that's nice.
And then the game, let's make sure I have that right. Then the game is $15.
Shit, I don't know by heart. Could be.
I think I saw 15 on Nintendo. I didn't see one on Steam. That's what I was just assuming.
I don't want to. I think it's something like that. I don't want to say the wrong number now.
Also, currency exchanges are fun. So we're just gonna go. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume
Around $15.
around $15 and you said if you wish listed
Yeah.
on Steam, you get some sort of sale at launch. I assume that's your normal 10% off sale.
Yeah, could be.
I know numbers are fun.
I'm not the numbers guy. That's someone else in the company. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, David, thanks for sitting down and talking about the Almost Gone with me. I'm excited to see how it's doing for you guys. I'm excited to see what the game is. I think, again, the reason it caught my eye is I think the art style is really cool, and that was the initial thing that caught my eye. So you obviously did something right, at least.
All right, cool. Thanks. Nice to hear. Thanks for having me and listening to me in my shitty English. And I hope I'll talk to you again in the future. And yeah, thanks a lot.
This podcast was a production of the SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at theswwshow. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeatBoy. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.